Welcome to JB Sports. I'm your host, Jonathan Burton, and today we are going to get into the NFL mostly. We're going to talk about some of the injuries and the Commanders because I have a lot to talk about the week one. I'll talk about a few things other than just like the Commanders game, but probably not too much. First injury we're going to get into is Jordan Love. Um, he played the Eagles. The Packers played the Eagles in Brazil, second game of the year, and near the end, it was I think it was like a few seconds left actually, and Jordan Love was in the pocket and he moved around a bit and he couldn't find anyone to throw to. Eventually, he gets some pressure. Jalen Carter, I believe, gets right at him. He just slips out of that, and he gets turned around and he starts to get tackled by another guy. He flips it back to Josh Jacobs, which he starts running off. So you think it's just, oh, he got it off. You're going, and they look at the replay, and I'm not like a doctor, so I can't really describe it too well, but you see him starting to get tackled by I forgot who the other guy's name is, but Jalen Carter grabbed his leg, and the way he did it, you saw Jordan Love's knee click. It like popped out of place or something like that. You saw it click. That's what I'd call it. And that was rough to. It was kind of gross to watch, but it was rough. I don't think Jalen Carter meant it on purpose. I think he was just trying to get a sack for his team. So I don't think he deserves any hate. He was trying to play football. And I mean, I guess it could kind of look a little dirty, but in the moment, I think he was just trying to get a sack. I don't think he was trying to be a dirty player. So it sucks that the Packers lost him. I looked at it today before I started recording, and the Packers have listed him to questionable for the game. I don't know if he'll play then, just because I know there was no injury to his ACL, but there was some. I would know when I don't know if you classify as an injury to the MCL, but he did get hurt there. So we'll see what happens for Jordan Love. The backup right now, I believe, is Malik Willis. He came into the game after Jordan Love got injured. Well, supposedly got injured. So we'll see where that goes for Malik. Malik has been a career backup, really. He was drafted pretty early in third round of the 2022 draft. He's been a backup for a while for the NFL. He was a backup for the Titans, and he finally got traded to the Packers, which now he gets his chance to kind of show what he can do. I don't think he'll be as good as Jordan Love. I don't think he'll be really that much of a good starting quarterback, if at all he does, because Jordan Love is questionable. So you never know what can happen these 2 days. So we'll see what happens there. But going into the next injury, this one is a little more scary. I mean, the first one was scary, but this one is in a different way scary. Tua Tagovailoa last night against the Buffalo Bills was scrambling out of the pocket and started to run straight forward, and he was met by Damar Hamlin. So Tua tried to put his shoulder down and go into the hit, and Damar Hamlin just smoked him in the neck, and Tua got another concussion. So that would be three diagnosed concussions in the NFL, diagnosed, confirmed. I think there was like they talk about maybe he had one against the Packers. I think maybe last year, but I don't think it was confirmed. But yeah, he's got three diagnosed concussions in the NFL, and he has one in college, I believe. So that's three in there's yeah 3 in 3 years of in the last 3 years of the NFL, which is not good. A lot of people are saying that it's probably better for him to retire because the struggles he could have later in life with the concussion, and it's not worth it to continue to play and get another one because it's really important for him to be like good for his family, which I have no say in what he chooses. He could play football again and never get hurt again, but it is completely up to him. I think it'll be a while before anyone really says anything on Tua's side, just because it's better for him to get healthy than worry about this right now, which it's a tough decision anyway. So it's all up to Tua and his family. So we can say all we want about it, But like I said, at the end of the day, it is Tua's decision and what's best for him. So I know a lot of people have been saying, hey, you got to take this seriously. Maybe Tua should be done with football. I mean, he's got a bag from the Dolphins with a 4-year extension, one of the highest paid QBs, I think top five. So he could retire and be okay. But we'll see what happens with him once he gets healthy, of course. That's what we want to know. That's what we want to happen. But going into that with Tua possibly having a really bad concussion because he's already had two, and each time you get a concussion, it just gets worse. So we have to go into replacements if he is out indefinitely or out for a long time this season. You have the Miami's backup quarterback, Skylar Thompson, as a choice, which he's not bad, but he's not the best. So that's one route you can go. And then a lot of people have been saying this guy in. I will back down on it and double down on it and go with him. Ryan Tannehill. He is currently a free agent, if I am correct. And he is, I guess, out of his prime if you said he really had a prime. He used to play for the Dolphins, and maybe he knows the system still a little bit, so he can go in. He's got probably a good relationship with the team, maybe, and he just has some familiarity there. So, with Tua being gone for a time, maybe forever, you have to look at these things. And Ryan Tannehill, while he's 36 years old, probably won't play for a while, is a okay replacement for Tua. I mean, Skylar Thompson can be that replacement. He's already the backup. He beat out Mike White for the spot, which I guess the Dolphins might be thinking they wish they had Mike White now because they did release him. But you have to think Skylar Thompson, we saw the rest of his game. I mean, he didn't warm up. He didn't do too terribly bad, but he didn't do great. But like I said, he just got into the game after seeing his teammate get his third concussion in 3 years. So he could play better than what he did. And then the other person, Ryan Tannehill, I think they should bring in personally just because, like I said, he has familiarity and he's not a terrible quarterback. He's not going to take you to a Super Bowl, but he might be enough to get you to the playoffs. So, and I think even having him would be better than like in the Packers situation, having Malik Willis start now. But that's just me. But that's what I would go for personally. I mean, there's some younger, like way younger guys. Ben DiNucci, 28, I believe he might be a free agent, or he's like third string. No, he's free agent. He got waived by the Broncos. So you could pick up him. He's probably not as good as Skylar Thompson, but that's just a funny one to go for because who doesn't love some Ben DiNucci? But yeah, he's 28. He's way younger compared to 36. And then the last injury I'm going into, and the one that's has to do with me most, I guess, is Emmanuel Forbes has to go into surgery for a UCL tear in his thumb. He could be out for, I believe I saw 4 to 6 weeks. It might be unconfirmed, but that's what I believe I saw on Instagram. But he is having surgery on his UCL on his thumb. So that is confirmed. And with that, I've talked about Emmanuel Forbes extensively on this podcast, and I've talked about how bad he plays. Like I did not like the pick of Emmanuel Forbes coming out of the draft, and I thought he was honestly a wasted pick, and he was. He did not play too well last year. I've told stories about how AJ Brown toasted him 2 games in a row. He had multiple picks he just dropped. The one pick interception he got against Russell Wilson against the Broncos, he ended up fumbling and then recovering. Like, he hasn't played well, and the first game of the season against the Buccaneers, he played terribly. He got benched, which could be because of the injury, because it did look like his hands could have got caught there, but it was a play I think at the Bucks 30-yard line, and Baker he just had him the wide receiver wide open, and Emmanuel Forbes just did not break it up at all, and didn't look like he tried to break it up. He got his hands in there, and it just right over him. And Emmanuel Forbes played terrible in the game. Let Chris Godwin get multiple third down receptions. So he hasn't played good whatsoever already at the start of the NFL, which you could say, oh, it's one game, but it's in multiple games, and it's rookie year too, which you could say he's a rookie, but he played worse than a normal rookie should. So going into that, you have him out for 4 to 6 weeks, and I never wish injury on anyone. I don't think anyone should ever suffer from an injury. I don't think it's good that anyone gets an injury, but he's benched now, so he won't be playing. So we have, I believe, Mike Davis, who will take his spot. Hopefully he can show out a little bit, because it is going against the Giants, which you saw Daniel Jones played very, very bad last year. You had Malik Nabers get hurt too. I think that is I thought it was probably like day to day, but I don't think he got hurt too bad, so we won't have to deal with him. The main thing we'll have to deal with is our receivers, because, well, our defensive backs are terrible, but they might be able to look good against the Giants. You never know. Last year they looked terrible both games because they just suck, but hopefully it gets better. Mike Davis hopefully does better than Emmanuel Forbes. Our defensive backs are looking right now, if you look at it, Benjamin St. Juste still number one. He didn't do really good. You have Noah Igbenogany and at right cornerback, and then nickelback Mike Sandstrom. Mike Sandstrom didn't do terrible. He got some hits in there, and then for backup, yeah, I'm guessing it's Mike Davis, or you might have to put one of the other safeties in there, but I'm pretty sure Michael Davis will be the guy going in. With the safeties, I will say Quan Martin did really good at the Buccaneers game. He didn't get any interceptions, but when he had to tackle, when he was there to tackle, he, I believe, got the tackle every single time. So Quan Martin's looking good. Jeremy Chin's looking good. And I saw that the wide receiver room, we did not do too good last game. To be fair, I don't think there was too many pass plays. There was a lot of times where Jane Daniels had to run out of the pocket. There's a lot of run plays. So we'll get into Jane Daniels. But with the wide receiver room, number one, Terry McLaurin. And then number two was Luke McCaffrey. Luke McCaffrey, even though he did not, most receivers didn't get a lot of touches. I mean, I don't think Terry McLaurin got a pass to like the third or fourth quarter. He did not get one the whole first half. So we have to get him the ball more, because he can be a top 10 receiver in the league. I've said that multiple times. So we have to give him the ball. Sam Howell did not do it last year, and Terry McLaurin still had 1,000 receiving yards. So we have to give him the ball. Luke McCaffrey, like I said, did very good. Had one pass to him where he almost got the touchdown. He was like he was that close. It's like they would be like first and goal, like inches, and it sucked because that could have been his first career touchdown, but unfortunately it wasn't. And then it was a trick play. They passed him out to the side, which he did very good in this. I mean, most NFL players will probably do the same thing he did, but they passed it out to him, and I believe he was supposed to throw it back across the field to Jaden Daniels, and he realized, the whole linebacker group was like right in front of it, so he couldn't make it. So he just took off and ran. I think it shows good awareness by him. I mean, like I said, you could say most people in the league will probably know not to throw it back, but it was just good to see him make smart decisions. So then third, Olamide Zaccheaus, I believe that's his name. Hard to say his name. didn't do much either. I mean, I kind of just wanted to see De'Ami Brown in the third spot. I want to see him get a chance, even though Luka Caffey beat them both out for the second spot. So that was cool to see. But I really want to see De'Ami Brown get the third spot, and it just hasn't happened yet, unfortunately. But I think eventually he will get that chance if the wide receiver room keeps doing what they're doing and not getting open, I guess. So going into Jaden Daniels, in my opinion, I could be biased, but I'm just thinking number wise had the best rookie performance of out of the three rookie quarterbacks that started. The three rookie quarterbacks that started were Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, and Bo Nix. Bo Nix, I believe, had a touchdown, two interceptions. The touchdown was, I believe, a running touchdown where he spun just in front of the end zone, which was a nice play. Caleb Williams, in my opinion, did terrible. I mean, it's his first game, he was probably nervous, which he said he doesn't get nervous. So that's something, he has to bite on his own words. But he did not get a touchdown, no interception, which multiple interceptions that could have been were dropped. So Titans kind of sold there. But Jaden Daniels had two rushing touchdowns in the game, and he did pretty good. He had 88 yards, and the longest one was 17. He did pretty good. There was two scary hits where his helmet came off, which I don't like, as him being our quarterback. So I hope they can kind of fix that for him, and hopefully the helmet doesn't fly off anymore. But you had for passing 17 for 24, 184 yards, completion rating 70.8%, average 7.7. Longest was 32 yards, and he was sacked twice. He did very good at getting out of the pocket, in my opinion. He is a very slippery quarterback. He's very fast, so he was very good at, getting out of sack range, which compared to Sam Howell last year, which Sam Howell got sacked a lot, like a lot. And one of his problems was his pocket presence wasn't really there. Sometimes he would just get sacked when the lineman held up for a while and he would just hold the ball too long. I think Jane Daniels is doing good at not holding the ball too long. He can kind of tell when people are coming. I think one of the sacks he didn't really realize yet, but he does most of the time know when someone's coming around. He's got good pocket presence. He can get out fast, and he can make some throws. Some throws, I think one throw to Terry McLaurin, that would have been pretty far. I think he overthrew a little bit, which is kind of rough, but he's a rookie. He'll be all right. So it was a good play. Terry McLaurin got open, so we just have to see those become more consistent and have him actually throw the ball more. I mean, 24 attempts isn't bad, but I do think they need to try to make a few more big plays and actually just try to get to the end zone more with passes. I mean, I can't really tell them what to do because I'm not a coach. All I can say is I kind of want them to pass more while running. He did really well. I just don't like him running as much just because he's a quarterback. I don't want him to get injured and leave it to the running backs. I mean, that's in their name. But if he does have to scramble out, it's good that he can. So going into the running game, you had Brian Robinson do pretty good today. He got a rushing touchdown. He kind of just muscled his way in there. Brian Robinson, really good at just bulldozing people. I like to say he's like a baby John Riggins because if you know John Riggins, he was just a big guy that just pushed through. That's really what he's known for. They'd bring was it truck horns in the game? Well, they'd have a truck horn. They blare when he was running because he just literally just truck through people. So I like to say he's a mini one, even though he's not really, but it's just a joke I have. But yeah, we are going against the Giants next game. So what I want to see and what I don't want to see. What I don't want to see. I don't want to see Jane Daniels' helmet fly off twice. I think that's a really bad thing to see. And you want to protect your quarterback, especially when he's running, because he was doing good at sliding, but the few times he did get kind of hit, the helmet just came flying off. So we need to work on that. Two, I don't want to see our wide receivers not get open again. I want to see some wide receiver action actually get out. I want to see, some more passes to Terry McLaurin. I don't want to see just being held back, and I don't want to see him overthrow some throws. I mean, he didn't overthrow too many, so it wasn't really that bad, but I just don't want to see mostly just straight running and screenplays. Next, what I don't want to see, I don't want to see our defensive back room be terrible. I mean, that's a big ask because we have one of the worst defensive back rooms in the league, in my opinion, just because we just can't cover for Jack Diddley Swat. But I want to see them be a little more active. I want to see them be better. Maybe Michael Davis can be better than Emmanuel Forbes. I really hope he can, but it's all on game day. It's really what it was, and I want to see more sacks. I mean, we got some pressures that game. It was pretty nice to see that, but I believe, only sacked Baker once or twice, and I just want to see more. Honestly, the pressures were there in the first half, and then the second half it just died down, and Baker could do whatever he wanted in the pocket. He was slipping out on us like he was prime Michael Vick. So I want to see more sacks, and I want to see more pressures throughout the whole game, not just the first half. And then what I want to see, I've already kind of said it, but I want to see more passes. I want to see more targets for Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin can be a top 10 receiver in the league. And when you don't use a top 10 receiver in the league, you're going to lose. And we didn't use him a lot. I don't think, like I said, he didn't get a reception till like the third or fourth quarter. I'm happy that Jaden Daniels didn't make the excuse that Murray made, where he said, that's not my job, when why, Marvin Harrison Jr. only got, I think, 3 targets, and he was wide open at the end of the game. And, Colin Murray didn't throw it to him, which, him saying it's not my fault is stupid because he's the quarterback. So I won't get too into that because it's off topic. But going back to what I want to see, I want to see, I've already said this, the defense get more pressures. And I think they really can do that on, Daniel Jones. I think he is having a rough season already. Giants fans were outside the plane taunting him, which kind of sucks. They were burning jerseys, I think, in the parking lot where he was, which is really hard to see for a quarterback. But to be fair, he has thrown 2 touchdowns since his new contract, and he's thrown 3 pick sixes. So he's thrown more pick sixes than he's thrown touchdowns, which is not a good stat whatsoever. So we'll have to see how he bounces back from that, which I hope he doesn't bounce back against us, because last year he didn't play, but they did amazing against us for some reason because our defensive backs were terrible. And then the last thing I want to see is, I want to see, Jane Daniels have to run less. I want the offensive line to hold up a little bit more. I know the Giants' defense isn't amazing, but it's not bad. They have Brian Burns in the linebacker. They got some really good defensive linemen like Dexter Lawrence. So I want to see our offensive line hold up and give Jane Daniels some time to throw so he can, well, one, throw some bombs, because I know he can, and throw some really good accurate passes. But also, I don't want him to have to get into the situation where he runs into a tackle and his helmet comes off. So if the offensive line can hold up and Jane Daniels doesn't have to slip out of the pocket every single play and kind of just stay there, be comfortable, it would be way better for the passing, like it always is, and it'd be way better for him to not have a chance of getting injured, because the helmet flying off is scary, like I've said before. But that's some things I want to see, some things I don't want to see for the Commanders to win. Commanders' first divisional game. Hopefully they can beat the Giants both times this year, as we lost last year to them every single time. So it's kind of sad to see that, because usually they're the worst. We're the worst two in the division, and we shouldn't be the worst. So that's what sucked last year. They don't even have Darren Waller anymore, so he won't be a threat. I don't know what happened to him, but he retired. He's gone home. Whatever was best for him, he chose. So he's not there anymore. He's not a problem. If they do take out Daniel Jones, you will have Drew Lock, which honestly he probably should be starting over Daniel Jones. I think the only reason Daniel Jones is starting is because they just want to give him another chance after the ACL, and because they're paying him so much. I personally think Drew Lock is better, so I hope Daniel Jones stays in most of the game so it's easier for a defensive back room. But I don't think they'll hold up too much just because they're that bad. Hopefully, St. Juice and Mike Davis and Sandstrill and, Igbenogany can hold up, but we don't know. It's the Commanders. I'm almost always disappointed. So we'll see how that goes. But this has been JB Sports. I'm your host, John the Bird, and thank you for watching. Have a great weekend.